Hello friends, I am Dr. Vijay Prakash and today I'll be talking to you about concepts of occlusion in fixed prosthodontics. Now the long-term success of any type of restoration is dependent on occlusal harmony of that restoration. So you can take any type of restoration, whether it's a single crown or a fixed partial denture or you're doing a full mouth rehabilitation. If the teeth are not in occlusal harmony or they are not in harmony in the somatokinetic system, the chances of failure will be there and your restoration is not going to last for long. Now let us understand few key things before we go on to concepts of occlusion. One are the determinants of mandibular movements. Now mandibular movements are determined by three things. There are three entities which determine the mandibular movements. Two are the posterior determinants, those are the temporomandibular joint, and one is the anterior determinant, which is the teeth. So imagine this as an inverted tripod which is hanging from the cranium in the patient's mouth. So you have the two stools, that is two legs of that tripod. They are the temporomandibular joint, which is the posterior determinant, and one leg of that is the anterior determinant. Those are the teeth. Now the posterior determinants a doctor or dentist does not have any control on, because that is determined by the anatomy of the glenoid fossa, that is the articular eminence. So your condyles are going to glide over that articular eminence, which is decided by the anatomy of the articular eminence. Posterior determinants are having influence on the movement of the mandible, and that movement is possible through the muscles of mastication, and the measurement and reproduction of those movement is the basis on which the articulators work. Next is the anterior determinants, which also influences the movement of the mandible, and as you can see that the anterior teeth, the teeth guides the jaw into lateral excursive movements and in protrusive movements. So you can understand this as a lever system, wherein you have the fulcrum, which is at the condyle, and you have the effort, those are the muscles of mastication, and you have load in between. So you have this type of lever system, which is the class 3 lever system, and as you move away from the fulcrum, the lesser the influence the posterior determinants will have on the occlusion. So if you come more anterior, it will be far from the posterior determinant, so that means the posterior determinant will have very less role to play here. And if you go closer to if you are going closer to the posterior teeth are closer to the posterior determinant, so they'll be having some more influence in comparison to the anterior teeth. By nature, anterior teeth are designed in such a way that they are best suited for guidance, because if you can see, the canines are having long and strong roots in the respective arches. Canines are one of the most important teeth, important anterior teeth, because they are the cornerstone of the arch, and also they influence the movement of the jaws in lateral excursive movements and in protrusive movements. So anterior determinant, like the teeth can be altered, the shape of the teeth can be altered, the cuspal inclines can be altered by the dentist so as to make the influence of the posterior determinant less. Apart from this, what we have to know is what is the working side and what is the balancing side. The direction in which I am moving the jaw is the working side. This is the working side, and the condyle on this side is the working condyle, and the opposing is the non-working condyle or balancing condyle. So these are two things which you need to know in understanding concepts of occlusion. Now the concepts of occlusion. Now let us see what are the concepts of occlusion. They are primarily three types of occlusion. One is the bilateral balanced occlusion. Second is the unilateral balanced occlusion or group function. And third, most commonly used occlusion in fixed prosthodontics is mutually protected occlusion. Let's see each of them. First, the bilateral balanced occlusion. Bilateral balanced occlusion is a bilateral simultaneous contact of all the teeth in maximum intercuspation and also during all eccentric movements of the mandible. So basically, in a balanced occlusion, at no time you will have teeth which will be out of occlusion. So always, whether the patient is making a protrusive movements or moving the jaw on towards the working side or balancing side, there will always be a contact on both the sides. Always the teeth will be in contact, and that those contacts will be simultaneous. This concept is basically used and it is ideal for fabrication of complete dentures because it increases the stability of the dentures as it distributes the lateral forces throughout the teeth and condyles during mastication. So it is ideal for complete dentures because it also provides cross tooth and cross arch balance. Balanced occlusion is based on three classic theories of occlusion, that is the Bonville's 3-point of occlusion balance, then that is the Bonville's theory, and then you have Spee curve of Spee and Monson's spherical theory of occlusion. So these are three theories of occlusion on which the balanced occlusion is based on. And at the start of this century, this type of occlusion was also used to treat dentulous and edentulous patients. And also this concept was applied in rehabilitating, like doing full mouth rehabilitation in natural teeth. Now the object here was to reduce the load on individual teeth by sharing the stress. But then it was found out that you have excessive contact on the teeth because of the bilateral balanced occlusion, because of the frictional wear, and there is very fast occlusal surface wearing, and that leads to failure. And that is the reason why this concept is not used for rehabilitating. In fact, it is not used for rehabilitation in fixed prosthodontics. This concept was widely used by McCollum and Granger, but was sharply criticized by Stallard and Stewart. So it is very difficult to find a balanced occlusion in a natural dentition. Very, very rarely you can find. Only it may be possible if you are having advanced form of attrition in the patient's mouth. Only in those cases you can have a type of balanced occlusion. So in short, you have the teeth in occlusion both on the working side and on the balancing side in balanced occlusion. That is, you have simultaneous contact on all the excursive movements and protrusive movement of the jaw. Now, next type of concept of occlusion is unilateral balanced occlusion, or also commonly called as group function. Now, in this concept, you have occlusion of all the teeth on the working side, but you don't have any teeth which are contacting on the balancing side or on the non-working side. So all teeth contacts on working side and there is no contact on the balancing side. Group function was first advocated by Clyde Schuler in 1929. Concept of occlusion was widely accepted and was used in restorative dentistry. Characteristics of this type of occlusion as listed by Barron in 1969 is that the teeth should receive stress along the long axis of the teeth. Then total stress should be distributed among the teeth segments in lateral movements, and there should be no interference which should occur from closure into the intercuspal position. Also, the teeth which are in contact in lateral movements should be without any interference. So, because of the distribution of force only on the working side and absence of any contact on the non-working side, it is actually protecting the teeth on the non-working side from destructive oblique forces. So that is the advantage of using this concept of occlusion. Also, this concept saves the centric holding cusp, that is the mandibular buccal cusp and maxillary lingual cusp, from excessive wear. Here we should also understand the concept of long centric. Now, what is long centric? So by definition, long centric is freedom to close the mandible either into a centric relation or slightly anterior to it without varying the vertical dimension at the anterior teeth. So this is a distance from the centriculation position to the maximum intercuspation position. This distance is called as the long centric, and this is around 0.5 to 0.75 millimeters free space between the maximum intercuspation and centriculation position where the vertical dimension is not altered. So in a concept of group function, you include long centric also so as to provide a proper occlusion. So this type of occlusion does not show any harmful effects as seen in the balanced occlusion where excess of wear was seen, and it is not difficult to fabricate. Also, this concept was used by Mann and Pankey for full mouth rehabilitation cases. And in functionally generated part technique also, Mayer used the concept of group function or unilateral balanced occlusion. Now, third type of occlusal concept is the canine guided occlusion, or it is also called as mutually protected occlusion or organic occlusion. This concept originated from the work of D'Amico, Stewart, Stallard, and V.O. Lucia, and the members of the Gnathological Society. And also, this is one of the most widely used occlusal schemes because of the ease of fabrication and greater acceptability by the patients. So, by definition, canine guided occlusion is an occlusal scheme in which the anterior teeth disengage the posterior teeth in all mandibular excursive movements, and the posterior teeth prevents excessive contact of the anterior teeth in maximum intercuspation. That means the anterior teeth are protecting the posterior teeth, and posterior teeth here are protecting the anterior teeth. This type of occlusal scheme is seen in patients which are having good periodontal health and which show minimal wear, such that the anterior teeth prevents the posterior teeth from making any contact during the mandibular lateral movements on the working or the non-working side. This separation of occlusion is called as disocclusion. That is, when the patient is moving the jaw to one side, then there is only contact at the canine region and no other teeth are contacting in the working side and also on the balancing side. So this is the balancing side, so there is no contact. Only the canines are in contact, rest no other teeth posterior or anterior are in contact with each other. And this separation of occlusion is also called as disocclusion. Now, what is disocclusion? Disocclusion by definition is a separation of opposing teeth during eccentric movements of the mandible. So in this position, in the maximum intercuspation position, if you see, then the posterior teeth occlude with the forces which are directed along the long axis of the teeth. And in this position, the anterior teeth are not in contact with each other or are mildly in contact. Very lightly they may be in contact in the anterior region. As the patient moves the jaw into protrusion or into any lateral movements, there is no contact of either the posterior teeth or also the anterior teeth except in the canine regions. The canines are guiding the occlusion in such a way that there is no contact on the posterior as well as in the anterior region. So this way the anterior teeth are protecting the posterior teeth and posterior teeth are protecting the anterior teeth, and that is the reason this occlusion is also called as the mutually protected occlusion. And this type of occlusion is recommended for full mouth rehabilitation provided the patient is having good periodontally healthy teeth. And where canine guided occlusion cannot be used, in cases where you are having anterior bone loss or in cases where you have missing canines. So in those cases you should use a group function occlusion, and in cases like class 2 or class 3 situations or in a crossbite cases, mutually protected occlusion or canine guided occlusion should not be used. Because in all these situations, the mandible cannot be guided by the anterior teeth, and that is the reason why canine guided occlusion cannot be given in these situations. So this is all about concepts of occlusion in fixed prosthodontics. Thank you for watching the video.